Today, Andrew Oaf from Liberty Middle School will share some new features in Google Forms, including uploading files such as photos, as well as automatically grading quizzes.
Now, to create a Google form, you're in Google Drive, you just click New, scroll down. You might not have it on your main list, but you hover over More and Google Forms is right there. To save time, I've already created one, starting from scratch though. So Forms, I'm calling this Image Answers and Auto Graded. So one of the things I would recommend is first look up in Settings, click Settings. And this is where you can turn it into a quiz. Now, there's always a lot of options for these. I like to collect email addresses, so I don't have to ask for their name. But if I don't collect their email addresses, I definitely have to ask for their name. And depending on what you want to do, if it's a test or a quiz, whatever you're doing, you might change some of these options. Now, under quizzes, I want to make this a quiz. And making it a quiz assigns point values to each question. And some of them will be auto-graded. Now, when I say some of them, the multiple choice questions will be auto-graded, and that's it. The rest you have to grade manually after they submit it. So I'm going to make this a quiz, and I have some options here. I can immediately let them see their grade right after submission, which I like to do, and I'll show you what that looks like. Or you can do it later after you manually review it and then send their scores to them afterward. Now, I am pretty particular about these. So if I'm giving my students a quiz or an exit ticket, it can show them which questions they got wrong. I don't, and I'm okay with that, but I don't like letting them see what their correct answers are in case they want to retake it. Now, if they're not going to retake it, that's fine. They can do that. And maybe I unclick both of these and they have to figure out what they got wrong on their own. But generally, I leave it like this. So now it's going to be a quiz. It's going to be in the form of a quiz, which basically means when I create this form, it's going to ask me to put point values on each question. So I'm just going to ask a 2-question quiz. So now, again, I can change what type of question it is. Even with a quiz, I can make it any of these options. It could be short answer or whatever. But multiple choice are the only ones that are going to be auto-graded. So I'm going to do a multiple choice. And now each option, you're going to title it, and I'm just going to leave it as option 1 right now because I'm going to put an image in here instead. So if I click this little image button here, I'm going to be able to drag and drop a picture over, and I've already selected some pictures that I want. So I'm just going to drag and drop one at a time. So this is going to be my A option, my first option. Drags and drop that in there. My second option is going to be my next picture. And so you just drag and drop each of these in. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to make this a 3-option question. So A, B, and C options. And again, now it's going to ask me, hey, we want an answer key. How many points do you want this to be? I always make my questions required, so I'm going to do that. Do an answer key. I want this to be worth 1 point, 2 points, whatever you want it to be. And then you have to choose which one is the correct answer. So I'm asking which one of these is exponential. That'd be this one. And then I'm done. I can edit the question again. And then I'll add one more question just so you can see more than one on the results. So my next question would be original capital of Oregon. And I'm just going to give 4 options. And again, I need to do an answer key. I'm going to make it required again. Answer key. And the correct answer of state or Oregon City. And I'm going to make this one worth 3 points, just so you guys can see that they give different values for points. You can do that. All right. And now I'm going to take the quiz really quick. I have 1 correct answer, 1 wrong, just so you guys can see what it looks like. So I'm going to submit. And when you click submit as a student, you're going to get a view your score option. Now, they can see this because I gave them that option to be able to view their score. So I'm going to view my score, and it's going to say you have 1 out of 4 points. This one was correct. And again, if you don't want them to see that they got that correct, which ones are correct, you can take that option off. And it shows that I got this one wrong. Now, I left the option off of telling them which is the correct answer. But notice I got 0 out of 3 points here, 1 out of 1 point here. And so that's what the students would see when they want to view their score. Now, I build my questions. And now from the responses, I can see, first of all, a summary. And again, usually I have 25 of these, and it says, 10 people got a 4 and 8 people got a 3 and so on. But I only had 2 options here, so it shows me there's one person got 3 points, one person got 1 point. And as I scroll down, it'll show me each question. So when you have 25 people answering this, it's pretty insightful to know who chose which one. Same down here. I can click on individuals. So the summary is good for looking at how your class did in general, but if I click on individual, I can go down and I can select this first student. Now, both of mine are going to have the same email address because I took both of these, but if you have 25 students, it'll have their emails here. So this is my first student that took it, got a 1 out of 4. I can look and see what they chose, and I have their score here. I could go down or go to the next student, and it'll give me their score as well. So the other way to do that, I found with me, it's easier if you have 25 students to create this spreadsheet, and it's just going to create a new one, and it's going to be in the same folder that your Google form is in. It's going to be right next to that. And now it shows me, okay, I have these 2 students that took it. Here's their scores. And something that I'll do to make it a little quicker for me is I'll actually usually ask them a question on the Google form of what's their last name, and then it could just put them in alphabetical order from last name. I think somebody's told me a way around that, but here's their scores, and I just put their score right into Skyward. And the nice part is the students get immediate feedback on their score before it even goes in Skyward. They know which ones they're getting right, which ones they're getting wrong, and makes it a lot easier. And again, the downside to this is the only things that are auto-graded are these multiple choice questions. And so you could have some multiple choice questions that are auto-graded and then add some short answer questions as well, but you just have to manually give them a score on that after they take it. You go put in that score for them.
So another new ability in Google Forms is the ability to ask a question to have people upload a file. So multiple choice is the default, but I can change this to file upload and continue. And you're going to see there's a few different options. So how many files do you want them to have the ability to upload? What file size do you want them to upload? And then what style of file? So I could say that I just am looking for a document or just a PDF. And so you can see what those look like. So if I just want somebody to have the ability to upload images, I can do this. And I found it's easier to ask multiple questions with one file apiece when we get to the back end. So I'm just going to say one file. I'm not going to worry about size because you have unlimited space in Google. But this would be a great way to collect photos or videos from students, parents. There's a lot of different options. So if we go to the preview option here, so on the student side or your audience side, whoever you're sending this to, they can click add a file, and then they can use a file from their Google Drive, or they can upload directly from their hard drive, or if they're on a phone, it's going to search their camera roll. So I'm going to find a picture here and open. So back on the edit side of my Google form, I can click on responses, and here are all the files that were uploaded. So I did go back and do a second response. The nice part about this is this view folder. So here I see the names and I can open one individually. So here I am back at the edit version of my Google file, and I can click on responses, and I can see the summary is going to show me just the name of each file. I can click on them and open them, but I can't see any thumbnails. If I go to view folder, here I can see a list view of all the files. If I'm looking at photos, I might want to click on the grid view because it gives you a larger image to look at. So I'm going to go back to these files, or to this Google form. So we looked at summary. I can click on each one. View folder shows me everything in one place, regardless of how many people I have submitting. I can also look at individuals, and here I can get a link to their image. And then the spreadsheet at the top, here's where I think it really depends on your usage. If you want to have multiple questions, so maybe I'm asking students' names, some reflective questions, and then having them upload a picture of maybe a math test that they corrected, you might want to be able to click on this. So that's where I would have one question or one file. When I allowed multiple files, they were not clickable. So if it's a student piece, you might want to allow one file. If you're having parents upload a whole bunch of photos from a track meet, or students uploading pictures from a field trip, you might want to go ahead and allow with that question then multiples. So there you have some new features for Google Forms, having images for answers in a test, allowing auto-corrected quizzes, and also the uploading of files.